It is the end of July. Summer is summering. The cicadas are loud all day long, and the peaches are in season. Everywhere you go, every farmer's market, every supermarket is starting to have fresh, wonderful, juicy peaches for sale, and it's amazing. So today we are going to make peach butter. My peach butter recipe comes from the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving, and I will leave my Amazon affiliate link to this book and some of the other things I use in this video in the description below. Now, if you do use my Amazon affiliate link to make any purchases, I will get a small commission, so don't feel like you have to do that. And I do use my teeny tiny commission to purchase items to help me make these videos. I have a peach tree. And the difference between my peaches and the peaches that you find in the store is that they're not very pretty. See, a lot of my peaches, or most of them actually, have lots of little spots on them and stuff, and like marks and damage and everything, and you're like, ugh, that's kind of gross. What's wrong with them? I don't want to eat these peaches. But do not fear. There's actually nothing wrong with them. See, what happens is, you'll have things like stink bugs and whatnot, and they walk on the peaches and everything, and they cause some damage. And so what the peaches do is that they release like this sugary sap, I guess you want to call it, to repair themselves. And some of the other stuff that you might see on here, this black spot on the skin, that's like a fungus. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with your peaches. So the difference between my peaches, which are not very pretty, and the peaches in the store is that although my peaches do have spots, they don't have pesticides. And that's kind of a big deal for me. So I'm going to peel this peach right here. I'm going to cut it open, and we're going to see what it looks like inside, just to show you that everything is okay. There you go. There's literally nothing wrong with this peach. I'm going to go further. I'm going to have some. Oh my God. So good. Okay, so on with the recipe. So even though the title is a bit misleading, for some of you who don't know, and many of you might not, peach butter, apple butter, pumpkin butter, they don't have any butter in it. It's just called a butter because of the consistency is like softened butter. The great thing about this recipe is that it has 4 ingredients. 4.5 pounds of peaches, which have been peeled, pitted, and roughly chopped. 1/2 cup of water, the zest and juice of 1 lemon, and 4 cups of sugar. Now, if you are watching your sugar, then there's nothing I can tell you. There's no substitutions that I know of. Jams, jellies, butters, they all do have a lot of sugar in them. And it is part of the preservation process. So you can ask me 100 times. I honestly have no idea how you can substitute. I don't know if you can use stevia or any other sugar substitute. You're going to have to research that on your own. That all being said, I'm going to start peeling and slicing and pitting all of these peaches, and then we'll come back for step number 2. I have peeled, pitted, and chopped my peaches. Now, I did not show you that process because it's very long and very tedious. And if you want to know how to do that, there's tons of other videos and books and websites that will show you how. I am not going to do that today because it is very boring. But when I was done, I was only able to get about 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds of peaches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to half this recipe. So we are going to be using my 2.5, it's actually like 2.75, which is on the nose, which is great. 2.75 pounds of peaches. We're going to use 1/4 cup of water, 2 cups of sugar, a bunch of lemon zest. I'm probably going to use this entire lemon zest, but we're only going to use the juice of 1/2 of a lemon. Next, we are going to bring this to a boil over medium-high heat, stirring constantly for about 20 minutes. You have to stir it constantly, whether you like it or not, because so much sugar, between the sugar that you added and the sugar from the peaches, it will start to burn if you walk away, if you're not paying attention to this. So when you're making jams, jellies, preserves, anything with a high sugar content, you really do have to be around paying attention. If you have a lot of other things going on and you cannot be hanging out here, then you're going to have to wait and do this another day. Any of you guys catch what I did and see how I screwed up? I didn't read my recipe through before I started. I decided to make it the way I make jelly all the time and add my sugar first. But if I would have actually paid attention, I would have realized that I was not supposed to add the sugar yet. So that's okay. I'm going to go on to the next step and then the third step, but in a different kind of a way. But you know, hey, that's what happens sometimes when you're cooking or baking or canning or whatever. You mess up your steps, but that's okay. It's not really going to mess anything up. We're going to fix it. So what we were supposed to do was cook down our peaches for about 20 minutes until they were soft. Then we were supposed to put them into a blender or food processor or food mill and puree them, not liquefy them, puree them. Then we were supposed to put it back in the pot, then add the sugar, and then cook it until it gets to that stage where if you put a spoon in and you put your finger on it, it sticks. Almost like jelly, but it doesn't tell you a temperature. So what I'm going to do is I am going to ladle my peaches and sugar mixture into my blender. I'm going to puree it, and then I'm going to put it back into my pot, and then I'm going to bring it back up to a boil, probably for about 15-20 minutes, until it gets to the consistency that we want it. Be very careful because this is hot. I am clumsy. And I may or may not burn myself. Towel. You want a towel because this is going to splatter. And you do not want to get hurt. Yeah, okay. I think that's a puree. Only took a minute, like literally. Not even. It's actually pretty thick already, but we're going to cook it down a little bit more. You know what, let's see how it tastes. It's really, really good. If my peaches were riper, it would be a lot sweeter, but I don't need it to be super sweet, and it's still really, really good. Okay, we are back at the stovetop. Let us bring this up to a boil. I don't know how long this is going to take. We'll have to see. But I don't think it's going to take very long at all. I forgot to add my 1/4 cup of water. What is wrong with me today? I'm still cooking my butter, as you can see. Ball says that it will take about 30 to 60 minutes to cook down your butter so it gets to the consistency that you are looking for. You're going to have to eyeball a lot of this to determine when you think it's done. One way that they say to do it is you put a dish in the freezer and then you get a spoonful of it and you put it onto that chilled dish. Let's do that. Here's my chilled dish. Get a spoonful. And put it on there. When the mixture does not separate, So you don't see any water around the edge, okay? And it has a buttery consistency, then it's ready to go. Let's see. Well, it's hot. It's good. And from what I can tell, it hasn't separated. There you go. I think we're done. Now on to canning. I am going to put these into my 8-ounce jelly jars. The original recipe says that I should get about 8 of these, but I'm guessing I should get 4. I'm hoping to get a full 4. I don't know. It can vary. Sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less. Who knows? If there's not a lot, like if there's only 4 ounces, then I'm just going to put that on the side. I'm going to put it in the fridge, and I'll use it right away. Make sure your jars are clean, and I mean freshly clean. Put them in the dishwasher on the sanitized setting. Wash them in super hot, soapy water. Do whatever it is you need to do. Even if you cleaned them last time and put them away and you take them back out, just do it again, because we are processing food and we want to be as safe as possible. You're going to be putting these on shelves, could be for a year or two, and you don't want anything bad to happen while they're down there by themselves, all right? Okay. So we have our jars. We have our funnel. You want a funnel. Trust me, you want a funnel. Very importantly, you are going to want some vinegar. I'm just using ACV, it doesn't matter. And a paper towel, because what you're going to do is you're going to wipe your rim. After you fill your jars, you're going to wipe your rim, get all that sugar and stickiness off. Because if there's anything on this rim, it is going to interfere with your seal. Also, you need to use brand new canning lids. Do not reuse lids. Some people will say, yeah, you can do it, no problem. I don't think that's the right way to go, because every time you use it, every time you can, the integrity of the seal will break down. And you don't want to risk anything. You want these to seal nice and tight. So let's start. This is a canning ladle. You do not have to use this ladle. Use whatever ladle you're most comfortable. We're going to fill these to 1/4 inch of head space. All right. So let's see. And this is hot, so please be careful. I feel like I'm not going to get 4, but let's see. So I'm just going to fill 4 of these up, and then I'll grab a spoon, and I'll top them off if I need to. It looks like 1 ladleful is just about right. Now, 1/4 inch of headspace is this top ring right here. You can measure it. There are debubblers that come with like little steps on them, and if you put it here, it'll show you. But if you don't have one of those, that's fine. Go right up to this top ring of your canning jar. So some of these are not quite full all the way. I'm going to grab my little spoon, and I'm just going to top these guys off. When you tighten these, it'll say fingertip tight. It doesn't mean like, don't be scared. Tighten it. Don't tighten it like a crazy person, but tighten it until it stops. But don't press too hard, because if you tighten it too much, then your lid is going to buckle. And if you don't tighten it enough, then it's just going to come off and water's going to get in there and it's going to ruin the whole thing. We are going to water bath can this peach butter. What you want to do is get your giant pot. It does not have to be a specific water bath canner, and you want to make sure that your jars are not touching the bottom. So I have one of these. This came in a 2-pack. I got it on Amazon. I'm just going to put this in the bottom. My water's already kind of warm. It's not, as you can tell, it's not killing me. It's not burning my hand when I put it in there, but it's not ice cold. So if you have really cold water and you're putting hot jars into cold water, then it might crack, and you don't want that to happen. So start your canner up, get it warm, okay? You can put your hands in there, grab your, all right, and then just start putting your jars in. I only have 4. That's okay. Small batch canning is a great thing because I don't actually eat a lot of jam and jelly anymore. You're going to want to make sure that the water in your pot is at least 1 inch above your jars. So, and remember, the more jars you put in here, the more displacement there is going to be. So if you put the first jar in and the water it's up to the top but not quite an inch, just wait a few minutes, put the rest of your jars in, and if you need to add a little bit more water, you can do that. All the kids are in. We're going to put our lid on here, and we're going to let this boil. When this comes to a boil, and not before, when it comes to a boil, and I mean the water is moving around, not just a slight simmer, all right, we are going to process this for 10 minutes. Because I, though, am more than 1,000 feet above sea level, I'm going to add 5 minutes. So I'm going to process this for 15 minutes. And we're back. My jars have been in the canner processing for a full 15 minutes. Remember, 10 minutes plus 5 because I'm 1,000 feet above sea level. And then you let them sit in the canner for another 5 minutes just to let them chill out without the water boiling. I think that this is supposed to let them acclimate to the outside temperature. I don't really know. Some people take them out right away. Some people literally just let them sit there for like 2 hours before they take them out. But I'm not going to do that. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to go get them right now. Everything looks good. Nothing has exploded. The lids are on. Wonderful. And there you have it, peach butter. A great way to use up extra peaches that aren't so attractive, 4 simple ingredients, and it's not really that complicated. It's also extra, extra good.